today's message is really going to be about a number of queen tips I've been noticing. So one of them is like, get things done in the moment. You know, I am a big believer and I clear out my inbox every single night, and I don't let there be more than 5 emails in my inbox. So that's just something that keeps my head clear, doesn't keep me wondering and like, oh shoot, did I like miss anything? So the way that I do that is I either delegate it or I get it in Asana, but I get things out of my inbox so that they are being handled and not just sitting there. I think emails that just sit there, that it's like stagnant water. It becomes murky and stinky, and it's not vibrant. Like, it's all meant to flow. So I want to make sure that you're taking really good care of your inbox, and delete. Oftentimes this requires a lot of unsubscribing. If you need to unsubscribe yourself, fine. If you're short on time and have a team, then send it to an assistant and get those unsubscribes going. So we don't have time as queens to be like sifting through all this stuff in our inbox. And you want to make sure that it's just cleaned up and cleared out and it's fresh. And then the next thing that I've noticed is something on, I don't know if it's an organizational tip. I don't know if it's time management. I am always amazed at the amount of women that don't have their communication handled. And what I mean by that is response time. You know, I think that like someone who's got it together, like responding to someone in like a 24-hour period is totally appropriate. And I'm talking DMs, Voxers, emails, texting. Even if you need to buy yourself more time, that's fine. Text someone and be like, hey, I'll get back to you next week, or I'll get back to you this weekend. But the amount of clutter that goes into the inbox and the DM, oh, we're getting a lot of hearts on that one, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's like, and this goes across the board. I see this with friends, with colleagues. It doesn't happen with us, with a team at Divine Living. We are like on it, and we totally live by, you know, everybody will be responded to within team or within our community. If you've like emailed us in at questions at Divine Living, within a 24-hour period maximum. And I just find it amazing when I'm like reaching out and doing joint ventures, texting friends about stuff, like just like the lack of response time. People are getting back like 3 and 4 days later, sometimes a week later. And I'm just like, sister, get it together. Like, none of us have that much happening, you know, that many DMs. You know, I'm not talking about like, you know, when you've got hundreds and hundreds of DMs because you've just, you know, done something in that sense. You know, like, you know, but you need to learn how to like manage your time and your communication. And really what I find is so respectful as a queen is an acknowledgement. Just like acknowledging, got this, we'll get back to you later. Thanks for this. I'm in the middle of a launch, but I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. Like any form of acknowledgement, any form of handling it. And then other things, it's just like, it's handle it in the moment, so that you can get your communication system so dialed in. I see women who are not even like as, and this isn't about comparison, but like not as successful as me in business, meaning like should theoretically have less to do, like just overwhelmed and swamped with their calendars, their schedules, their community. Oh, sorry, I'm getting back to you late. Like all of it is such an energy drain, and it's so unnecessary. You can make a decision, put yourself on whatever schedule, check your stuff in the morning or the evening, midday if you need to, whatever. But I think that in this era of ghosting, and in this era of being really casual with communication, that there's something queenly about the acknowledgement. There's something queenly about getting back to people and acknowledging them. You know, whoever has communicated to you, it's a person. It's not an autoresponder. You know, I'm not talking about that. Like, these are people that have reached out in some particular way. And if a response is warranted, then give it to them, because it's really about respecting you. You know, this lack of communication, I find it to be such a self-reflection or reflection of others just being swamped, overwhelmed, disorganized, living in chaos, just, being checked out. And part of what I think this whole time of reset is about us getting more powerful, us getting more dialed in, us really, really getting that all things are possible. And when we're connected with God and Spirit as our source, like, it's a big, abundant, beautiful world out there. And the other thing too, I think a lot of times what people, not always, but a lot of times why women avoid communication, it's because they don't know how to say no. They're afraid of the confrontation, or you don't really want to do something that's being proposed in your inbox or your DM. Say no. It's okay. That person is going to live. It's like, with all due respect, like, you're not God either. Like, if it's not you, they're going to move on and they're going to go reach out to do something with someone else as well. So if it's a no, let them move on. It's just so much more respectful for everyone to communicate with people. It's okay. Not everyone is a vibrational match. I'm really seeing that with all the podcast reach outs that I'm doing. Some people are getting back to me right away. Either way, like, hey, thanks so much, but we're booked up. We're not booking podcast guests right now, or yes, would love to have you on it. It's like, just communicate either way. And like the stagnant DMs that have just been sitting there for weeks, you're just like, sister, get it together. So I don't want that for any of you. I want you to just feel proud of like how you're handling your office life. And so these are the things that I have found that really help me move forward faster. Number one, unsubscribe, unfollow, unsubscribe, unfollow, unsubscribe, unfollow. So less is getting into your inbox. Two, have your folders set up, like stuff that you're going to go back to, or you think you're going to go back to, whatever. If you need to have a folder that says trainings to watch, just go, and if you like someone's list, but you just don't have the time right then to watch their webinar, plop it in a folder so you can always go back to it, but get it out of your inbox. Same thing. I got tons of magazines and blogs lifestyle blogs that I follow, and I just have one folder for them. It's called, so there's not all these different folders you got to sift through. I've got one folder that says magazines, and anytime, usually it's more like on a Saturday or Sunday, that I'll go back and kind of sift through that, because I'm not spending hours on end during the week on my, recipes and fashion and that sort of thing. Speaking of fashion, this is my latest new little like balloon sleeve little top situation. I'll get you the link afterwards. But I've been having fun with freshening up the spring wardrobe, and and deleting, then just unsubscribing, like those, especially those emails that you get every day that you just don't look forward to getting, and you're just deleting because it's easier than unsubscribing. Go unsubscribe. Unsubscribe, like clear it out, so that what's coming into your inbox, just like what we were talking about yesterday, what's in your closet, it must be beautiful. It must have you feel beautiful for it to be there. And the list that you're on, that you're just like 9 times out of 10 or 10 out of 10 or even 7 out of 10, you're just like, meh, like unsubscribe. There's a small curated handful of lists that I'm on, and I love what I get, and I actually do look at them, and the rest I've unsubscribed, so I'm not dealing with all this stuff. And then the things that I really need to handle, they go in my calendar. They don't sit in my inbox. And my team knows that. Like the things that I need to do today, whether it's like reviewing whatever copy, videos, any of that, plus all the calls that I've got, it's all in the calendar. It's not in my inbox. It's not sitting there stagnant. I had a couple of girlfriends reach out to me earlier today, and they want some feedback on stuff. Great. They went into the calendar, so we could see where it would actually fit. And it just feels fresh. So I think that everyone needs to get really great at their communication, realizing that there's a human being who, even if it didn't come across this way, is really looking to do their best, is really trying hard, really has a lot of stuff going on. And treat them with love, treat them with respect. And part of how you treat them that way is with an acknowledgement of the communication, and then get great at handling things in the moment. That's the other thing that we train our team on. In general, if you're given a task that day, you complete it that day. Obviously, there's certain tasks that are going to take longer to do, but if it can be done that day, it is done that day at Divine Living, and we're really proud. Like our team is rocking and rolling, and we got a great vibe going on, and people are happy and vibrant. And that's really what I want for you and for your team. So getting really fierce with your calendar, cleaning out that inbox, and getting great at your communication response time, it will make a big, big difference for you. All right? And with that, we're over and out. Any thoughts, comments, or questions on what I have shared? Because at 10:30 today, I'm going to be over in the free companion course for my amazing book, The Audacity to Be Queen. If you do not yet have this, make sure that you go to divineliving.com/book, get yourself a copy. And speaking of being really queenly, if you just want to bless someone today, bless them with a copy of this book. Like, go buy this book for someone who you know could just use like a higher vibrational lift. I think that so oftentimes we'll recommend books, but it's $27. Like, go bless someone with this book today and see what a $27 difference you're going to make in their life. I know a friend of mine recently gave it to her cousin, and I just got a beautiful DM from her about just how life-changing the book was. I'm not saying this because it's my book. It was I feel very blessed to sort of have mothered this book. It's like I don't get to take responsibility for it, but this was the message that was meant to come through me, and it's meant to bless women in the world. So share it around, pass it around. At 10:30 today, I'm going to be in the free companion course to the book. You don't even have to buy the book to get into the course. So go to divineliving.com/audacity if you are not yet in there. And I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live, especially now that I got Firefox working, at 10:30 Pacific today. But before we close out here, any thoughts, comments, or questions on what today's topic has been about? Let's take a look. Even on weekends, do I do a 24-hour response? Heck no. Great question, Sonia. No, my weekends are, we work Monday through Friday. I mean, I think as business owners, our businesses are our babies. We're never like completely off. Yes, I check my emails, Saturdays and Sundays even, but I don't necessarily do anything with them on the weekends. But great question there. And who else has questions? Anything going on here on Instagram? Questions, let's see. How do you lead a team member to execute your vision to the highest standard expectation? And how do you delegate outsource certain tasks when it literally is one of your strengths? Such a great question, Brittany. So we do, and more so now than at the beginning, we do a lot of training at Divine Living. I think that I used to think that people should just get it. People should just get it quicker than this is common sense. Of course, you should know what to do in each of the lanes or different departments or job descriptions. And what I've really learned is that A players, smart people who take a lot of pride in their work, they're not mind readers. They're A players. And so really making sure that you've got systems and checklists and manuals, and we're constantly adding to what we call our SOP, our standard operating procedures for all of the different departments. Because we're learning every single day. We're like, oh yeah, that should be a checklist, or that should go in the SOP. So I think we're getting really great at training and spending time with your team. There's sort of like never a great time, and it can feel like, at least it used to feel like to me, like an annoyance. Like, really, I'm so busy, I got to take the time to, yes. And it's worth it, because when I've stopped and taken the time to train my team and say, hey, here's why we do what we do, or let's see how this mistake can be avoided in the future. Yeah, you're taking an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes, half hour even, to go over whatever whatever needs trained. And then, it builds like a whole cohesiveness with the team. It really builds relationship, and it definitely builds A players. So I've done this basically, other than the super techie stuff. I've done every position in my department. I've done copy, I've done graphic design, I've done sales, I've done admin, I've done coaching, I've done content creation. So, a lot of them are my zones of genius now, because I've had to do them and I had to get really great at them to get to the level that I'm at. And just because you're good at it doesn't mean that that's what's really going to move the company forward. And so if you're a visionary as the owner of the company, then you want to make sure that you're really in your visionary mode, and be training and delegating some of the other pieces as well. Let's see. Kiara writes, emails can literally suck energy. Great point to ensure that you only keep what you love in terms of subscriptions. Yes, I'm a big unsubscriber. And Tanisha writes, I love this suggestion too. Super cool. All right, anything going on over here on Facebook, darlings? Well, there is your queen dose of inspiration today. So go communicate. Text people back, DM them back, email them back, acknowledge the communication, acknowledge it with love. Know that that's a person who reached out to you. And if you want more of this goodness, go jump on into divineliving.com/audacity. We're doing a whole Facebook Live for the next 30 minutes, starting at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. So that's in 5 minutes. We will be over there. Mwah! Make it an amazing day. Lots of love, everyone. Bye.